Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, trailer number 2. Maybe it's the full trailer. Maybe the first one was a
Trailer
teaser.
number 3, I think, isn't it?
No, it's 2.
Oh, so the other thing that must have been like a teaser that I don't. Sometimes I can't tell the difference when they call something a teaser versus a trailer.
Yeah, teaser is like really short. I think like that's the difference. I think it's only like 30 seconds. Trailers are usually like 2 minutes, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Gonna put this in my monitor too. Hold on a sec. Monitor and output. Boom. There we go.
Keep putting things in that stupid lizard.
We all love lizards.
Look, Keith likes putting stuff in his lizard. Okay, leave him alone.
That sounded naughty.
It's getting late, but
don't look at explosions. Things blow up and they just walk away.
Oh, that's a Michael Bay trait right there.
But you know, the trailer opens up with Star-Lord talking about I am not getting angry. We get the crew walking forward with flames behind them. We get Swole Groot, the whole kit and caboodle. And we get Rainbow playing Since You've Been Gone, which I thought was a nice touch.
I like what they did. I like what they did for this trailer, where again, just like with the previous one, they played kind of a and I'll call it, because I really don't know what another phrase for it. I guess an epic version of Yellow Brick Road, where it's kind of like, broken apart, and they like add more orchestral elements to it. They do the same thing with the song used in this trailer too, where it's like more of a an epic version, an epic trailer version of the song.
Yeah, and just so you know, this is Richie Blackmore from Deep Purple. It's his band Post. Deep Purple, and yes, my sister did have this on vinyl, so I listened to it. When I heard it, when it first came out, I heard it, I was like, oh, that's awesome, because one of the lines in the song is, I was out of my head, can't take it, and that kind of explains Peter's actions in Infinity War and things like that. I thought that was a nice little touch. I don't know, because James Gunn had said he had all the songs picked out when the script was written, way back when it was written, and so I wonder if they used that lyric to kind of write how Peter was in Infinity War when he ended up losing, Gamora. Thought he lost, or he did lose Gamora. He was, I thought it was nice, and I love when he's like, well, that's Ratcatcher 2 from the Suicide Squad. I don't know what character she's playing, but it looks like she's just part of the High Evolutionary's scientist crew or something along those lines.
Gotcha.
Total dick.
So these orange suits that they're wearing, is this some sort of like High Evolutionary prison, or what is the deal with this? I wonder.
I think they're taken prisoner on Counter Earth, and this is like their garb. I think that's what they have to wear, because all of them are in it. And been you see Ratcatcher 2 is not. You see other scientists and others that are not. And I have a theory on how they get caught. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Oh, I just assumed it was because Drax threw that that rock.
Probably was. Or who catches him, I should say.
That is the gist of it.
But you did kind of see right there. Yeah, I wasn't going to sing the lyrics. I didn't want to lose anybody. But we see them coming up in the ship, which looks like Earth. And so I'm definitely going to assume they're traveling to Counter Earth. Mm-hmm. To take on or to get the High Evolutionary because of Rocket. Even though I still don't think that they're going to be going there for Rocket. I think, and I'll tell you in a minute.
Express beacon or.
And just so you know, the 8-9 P13 was Rocket's sort of nomenclature in the comics too, for when he was made. So that's a nice little touch.
And isn't that the same number that they read off in the first Guardians movie, too?
It is, yeah.
Exactly what I was about to say, Doug. Yep, that's exactly what they called
him. And, but remember...
He just hated things the way they are.
I like that touch. He just hated I wanted to show that too. I love Gamora seems to have gotten an upgrade to her hand. And she's like Razor Fist from the Shang-Chi movie. She definitely got Nebula. What did I call her?
You called her Gamora.
Oh, they're sisters. They're the same. Who can tell them apart? But yes.
Yeah, okay. We'll be bringing that'll be
apparently Peter can
come back at the end of the trailer.
But yeah, Nebula definitely seems to have gotten an upgrade from the hand that Sean Gunn gave her at the end of Guardians 2. So that's cool. That's a nice touch. It's
a pretty cool hand to have a sword hand. I wouldn't mind having a sword hand. Just saying.
A villain in Shang-Chi had a blade hand too.
Mm-hmm.
On the bus.
Uh-huh.
Razor Fist, Taser Face. Who can keep up? Taser Face! It's a metaphor for what? I think a good name would be Taser Face.
That's a stupid name.
But
I wonder, does he know they're coming? Where you got to pause. Does he know they're coming? And this is the first time they walk into the room? Is he just that aware of everything going on around him? Or did he summon them?
I believe they're going to meet with him about something, and that's why he's in his Star-Lord uniform and everything else. This is prior to them being imprisoned by him at some point. Mm-hmm. And Fatherly Fandom, we will definitely talk about who's surviving this movie a little bit.
We've got some theories.
Yeah. I like this too. We see, I can't remember his name in the movie, but Sean's Gunn character working with Yondu's arrow. I do think part of this movie is going to be him mastering. Kraglin, yes. Is going to be him mastering that and hopefully saving some of the Guardians perhaps, or himself, but helping win the day, even though I don't think winning the day is going to be all that happy of occasion, because I do think we're going to lose a few Guardians. Now, this is what I kind of want to talk about. This is a great scene with Adam Warlock, but look where he's at. That's Counter-Earth. That is not. We see him on Nowhere in a different part of this trailer that's coming up, fighting the Guardians. I do think, if you guys... I have a pinned tweet, which I talked about. I'm going to go to it. I'm not going to show it on screen because I should have planned this a little better. But I do think when we hear in Guardians 2, let me get to my profile, my pinned tweet.
The pinned tweet that you've had for like 6 years now.
It's from 22. It's now 6 years, but... The fact that Aisha says that Adam is the next step in our evolution makes me think that the High Evolutionary had a hand in his creation, and I think he is using him to capture the Guardians. I don't think he's there for the Sovereign. I think he's there for the High Evolutionary.
Oh yeah,
because we see him.
Yeah, in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he completely eliminated that, the Gold People planet, and or experimented on them or something. I think that was something that I had theorized in one of in our previous trailer breakdown or review. I think I theorized that it's possible that the High Evolutionary would see them as beneath him as well, and something that needed to be fixed or experimented on. I wouldn't even be surprised if he decided to cart them all off.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
And if you're right, if he did in fact make Adam Warlock, which probably had a hand in it, then of course Adam Warlock's going to follow his directions and eliminate them. I have no use for these people.
And that's what I think takes them to Counter-Earth, not Rocket to find his origins or anything. It just happens to be that he was created by the High Evolutionary too. They're going there because Adam Warlock probably attacks them on Nowhere, and they escape or he gets away, and they're going to find him or figure out what's going on or how to stop him. Because we know, unless they kind of power him down, Adam Warlock is extremely powerful and would probably be able to take out all of the Guardians single-handedly if he wanted to. So it'll be interesting to see why they're actually going to Counter-Earth, but I do think it'll be either a weakness for Adam Warlock or he's there and they want to get at him.
Adam? Black Adam?
Because we see here, this is what, up and at them. It's supposed to say up and at them, up and at them. But we see Groot kind of jumping down and landing on Adam Warlock probably to try to take him out. And that's Nowhere. Mm-hmm. That is not Counter-Earth.
Right.
So I definitely think early on he's coming to Nowhere and then they're going to have a rematch on Counter Earth at some point.
Yep.
Then we see the young Rocket. I love this scene with Groot and Star-Lord back to back, just firing away. Hopefully we get a tremendous action scene in this with all of the Guardians using their powers.
Count Dooku taught me of your Jedi ways.
We're always searching.
That was my first thought, seeing Groot with all the extra arms and the guns.
Grievous.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just a nice little hug.
Aww.
Yeah, it's a nice scene for Rocket before any bad could happen.
For a family.
Then we see Cosmo.
Each other.
And no, Thunder Walker, that is not Rocket's mom.
But I like this scene here. We see Drax taking on Adam Warlock. I do hope we get to see a little redemption for Drax because he's been kind of underutilized in the Guardians movie a bit. I mean, he got thrashed by Ronan, and he really hasn't done what Drax the Destroyer should be doing. So I hope he gets a memorable scene against Adam Warlock in this movie, and I think that this is what it's hinting at.
He's mostly been comic relief, and I think Dave Bautista has been upset about that. That like he's just been there for the jokes mostly. He hasn't been able to live up to the comic version of his character.
Yeah, and yeah, they totally nerfed him in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was created to destroy Thanos, and he is a complete, tough character who takes people out. So it'll be nice to hopefully see a little redemption for Drax because, as much as I've enjoyed the character, and nothing can fly over my head, my reflexes are too fast. As much as I enjoyed that, he needs definitely a scene where he shows his prowess.
You ready?
Yeah.
For one
So this is
last
where
ride.
he gets his fatal blow, though, it looks like. Because he's
Yeah.
right in the chest later on.
Oof.
Yeah, the same uniforms, and we see the blast hole in his chest.
Another prison break.
Yeah. Hey, it was real fun in the first movie. Let's do it again. And you know what? While we're talking about another prison break, gentlemen, what sort of limb do you think Rocket is going to request and need for this prison break? See, it was a leg in the first one. It was Bucky's arm. Then after that, who's
They
appendage?
wanted that guy's eye, too, remember?
Oh, that's right. He wanted the eye. That's right.
See, I don't know if they're in prison here so much as maybe like a forced labor camp.
What's
Because
They're trying to grab some Harvey Larry batteries.
no vocabulary. But
Ambulance.
we know that if he has the body of the Celestial Nowhere that we talked about when we were breaking down the first trailer, they may use people to go sort of mine the Celestial's body basically and use it. The High Evolutionary probably uses it in some of his creations. So I don't think it's a prison. I think it's more of a forced labor camp, like a mining expedition to get this out of there. And obviously they're gonna have to escape. But I just don't think it's a prison. I think they're being forced to work.
all right, I won't argue with you on
Like an Andor type thing.
but yeah, usually forced labor camps are still prisons.
Well, yes, they are prisons, but it's a little different. It's not just going to be another prison, like we got in the first one, the kill.
Yeah. I get what you mean.
And I can't decide if Peter is trying to save the scientist as things are blowing up, or if
We had this discussion in the previous trailer. We were trying to figure
Yeah.
that out.
and we know we've seen a scene where like Peter is very upset and it looks like he's standing over a hospital bed or something like that. And maybe this is the guy who didn't save Rocket or Layla or one of those people. So wait,
Or
Tundra-
is it Gamora again, and he's afraid that he's going to lose another Gamora?
yeah, they may finally be kind of getting along again after the beginning. She's not the same person as before. And
Yeah, she would.
Tundra Walker, if you could give us more details on that as that comes up, that's scary. But he said MSU is on lockdown.
Shots fired at multiple locations.
I guess most recently at IM East.
Oh.
Well, that's terrifying. I hope everybody is safe. Get in. If you're watching us in East Lansing right now, please be safe.
We'll all fly away together.
It would be okay if you stop watching us now if you're in East Lansing.
Yeah.
But this is the scene I'm talking about. Obviously,
Peter crying and yeah.
Something bad is here. You know, you hear Rocket saying, we'll fly off into the great unknown and all that. And then we see this. I do think this is most likely Rocket. I don't think Rocket is going to survive. And I think this may be the scene where he dies. And I think Peter is going to... I can see
that, yeah. I theorized that as well in our first trailer breakdown. I don't think Rocket survives this movie. I know a lot of people are, definitely Dave Bautista won't survive because he said he didn't want to do this anymore. And yeah, I could see that. It's possible that we actually lose a couple of Guardians. And it may not be limited to one. We may end up losing both Rocket and Drax. Who knows?
I think we'll lose Gamora, too.
I can see that.
Again,
I could definitely see that. I mean, what way to really, really up the stakes and to totally crush Peter than to think he's going to get Gamora back and then lose her all over again.
And that could definitely, if Star-Lord does survive, if Peter survives, he may be a mere shell of what he was before. And that way, if Chris Pratt does want to come back, I mean, if they do an Annihilation post the multiversal saga, maybe he could come back and, be not the fun-loving.
Fatherly Fandom said in the chat, the color schemes for the titles tell who dies in each movie. And, I heard that before. I don't remember who it was that someone's video I watched actually talked about that and mentioned that as a theory. But the title for this one is kind of like a goldish neon almost. It's like, it looks like an orangish or goldish color. So I don't know what
Warlock.
yeah, I guess that means he could die. Yeah, sure. But out of the Guardians, what does that mean? I wonder.
Does that look Groot a little bit? Well, the first one, who died in the first one?
Groot,
yeah. And then Yondu, the second had a blue, and it was... Yeah, it could be.
Rocket wears orange. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Nope, there you go.
Okay.
For a while, I didn't think Rocket would die, but the more I see things, the more I think this will be the last time we see Rocket, which is going to be very... And it may have been easily avoided if they didn't go after Adam Warlock on Counter-Earth, which is going to make it even, that much worse.
Now, are we
They're
thinking that...
themselves.
Or rather, do we know if this is the last Guardians movie that's going to be in the MCU, or is it just the last one that James Gunn is going to direct?
Just the last one that James Gunn's going to direct. And he said the Guardians will still be around. It'll just be a different lineup. So, I mean, it could be Adam Warlock, Nova, whoever survives this. We'll have to see what comes up, because I do think if they decide to go with an Annihilation wave for a phase or a saga, Annihilation saga, the Guardians will play a big role in it. And they're too popular, now in the MCU and the comics to just drop them totally. I just think a lot of the actors with James Gunn, and obviously James Gunn's not going to do another. He's not working for DC, but...
He's got to go save DC, let's be honest.
Yes,
he's got a 5-year contract with DC, so you never know.
True. I guess if things go bad, I guess he could be back. But I got a feeling things are going to go pretty well for...
He's pulling the DC superheroes out of the raging WB dumpster fire, and they're kicking and screaming, trying to jump back in, and he's doing whatever he can to try and stop it from happening.
Yeah. And then we get the final scene, which is just... I like Peter.
It's great. I love this.
You were in love with? It sounds more like her.
Right.
Do not bring me into this.
Didn't Gamora tell him to not?
Her eyes. That's great.
Yeah, he chose a great color.
Right.
No, he picked a great set.
Yeah.
My father used it to torture me. Yeah, he picked a great set. Peter, unfortunately, I'm a lot like Peter. He's a very silver lining type dude.
He cannot help but hit on all these women constantly.
Picked a pretty set.
You know, even when he was with the Sovereign, and she's like, you know, I like a DNA sample. He goes, well, if you want to do it, Barney, he's like, what? I was just talking to him or whatever. He can't help himself. He is just, you know, when he was talking about his ship with a black light, looks like a Jackson Pollock painting.
Right.
And yeah, he's a himbo without question.
Oh yeah. I wonder if
I think Nebula and Gamora look a lot different than they have previously.
I agree.
Look a lot different. I don't know. I
Well,
don't
they
know what
said
it is about Nebula, but she just looks a lot different.
They said they made Gamora look different on purpose. They're really trying to stress that this is a different Gamora. This is not the one that we know from the first two Guardians movies and Infinity War. This is a completely different person. This is a different iteration. She comes from, you know, before she had ever joined the Guardians, and then decided to go off on her own after Thanos got dusted. So, you know, it's
Yeah, she didn't have all those experiences. She hasn't grown like the other character is. Maybe she will, but I don't think she will survive this movie, which I don't know about you guys in the chat. I do think we're probably going to lose Gamora, Drax, and Rocket, and maybe Star-Lord too. Star-Lord's a possibility, but I kind of teeter on the fence on that one. I think he may live and just be tortured with what happened to his
That's
family.
why I asked, do you think this is going to be the end of the Guardians movies altogether, or, you know, is this just the end of James Gunn's version? Because we talked about this with some, you know, with the Ant-Man movie, for instance, how we think that they're going to basically try and clear the way for the new, younger heroes.
No, I still think there's going to be Guardian movies. I just don't think it'll be James Gunn, and it's going to be a different team.
Yeah,
And it might have a different feel. And
they could have who's the one? Tom Hardy, Venom. They could have Venom in there because they're going to have a Venom in the MCU, and Venom was in the Guardians in the movie, in the comics.
well, I wouldn't. Let's not rush to Agent Venom there, Zack Snyder. we don't need Dave off his gig as writing Titans is trying.
I mean, why did he come across in those two post-credit scenes and leave part of himself there? They're going to have a Venom.
No, they're definitely going to have a Venom. I'm just saying, getting to like Agent Venom, who worked with the Guardians, is probably a bit down the road. But we could get to that at some point. I want to see Spider-Man versus Venom. That is not Topher Grace and Tobey Maguire.
I was about to say, now, Keith, we already got that.
And yeah, I think Nova is a logical choice. He's been a part of the Guardians to a lot of this stuff. You know, Adam Warlock will probably be there. Groot, if he
You're
survives.
right. I forgot about that. That is a good point.
You know, there's been so many members who've been Guardians. Moondragon, who we haven't met in the MCU. Maybe we get a hint of her, you know, during this movie, or she comes in later with the multiversal saga.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Quasar has been a Guardian. Fennis Vale. So many. So, I mean, there's so many opportunities. It's like the Avengers almost. You know, if characters move on, new characters come in, it's kind of a different team. And, you know, Vance Astro, Marvel Boy. There's quite a bit. We could see quite a bunch of different members. And I think it may just be a different feel. Like it won't have the James Gunny sort of, you know, comedy, sort of jokey sort of thing. And maybe, yeah, Charlie 27 was from the future, though. Of course, we do see what's his name. Sylvester Stallone plays. I can't think of his name now. The character's name. He's one of the Guardians from the future in the comics too. So, I mean, we could even see that. Not that I think Sylvester Stallone is young enough to really start
Another
a major
franchise.
role. Yeah.
What about Martinex? He was.
Oh yeah.
So I think actually what we really need, and I know you guys probably forgot about this amazing hero, but really what the Guardians and what the entire MCU needs is Combo Man. Oh, I see the look of what are you talking about, Doug? I'm talking about the amazing moment in time where Marvel was so out of money that they did a deal with Combos, the snacks, and created a superhero called Combo Man and an entire comic book around Combo Man.
Wow.
And Combo Man was a combination of 14 different superheroes. So he had, let me see if he had the Hulk's hair. He had Iron Man's face. He had the Punisher's chest. I'm sorry, no, he had the Punisher's upper chest, Captain America's lower chest. They were very clear about that. And then I don't remember all of the rest, but and he had Flame On, what's his name?
Human Torch.
Human Torch.
Johnny Storm.
He had the Human Torch's knees, so only his knees were on fire. But this is a real moment in comic book history that you can look up that existed, and he needs to be in the Guardians.
No, he needs to be nowhere ever again. And yes, he probably could beat Atari Force. Stakar, yes. Yes, that's Sylvester Stallone's. Sounds delicious. He does sound delicious. The the pizzeria combos are fantastic. And
Right, he starts off as a waiter in a pizzeria. And somebody comes in with some pretzels. Next thing you know,
Host of Snacks did, yes. That was like the cartoons on the back of the comics, or inside of the comics back when we were young and reading comics. And on I think they were on back of the Hostess boxes. They would have little like comic strips.
Oh yeah?
I mean, I don't know. What are you talking about?
I don't know. I'm just watching the same thing you are. Jeez.
But anyone else in the chat, who do you think's going to live? Who's gonna unfortunately perish? Who's going to make me take some extra napkins from the concessions at the movies?
I don't know. I don't think 4 of them are going to die. This isn't a Quentin Tarantino movie. I think we'll get 2 of them out of the combination that you brought up earlier. But which 2? I think 2 max.
Do you have any thoughts on which 2?
I think Rocket and Drax. And
Okay.
I think the other ones, they might barely make it out, but they'll make it.
Fatherly Fandom, that would be nuts if they all died. I wouldn't put it past it. I mean, like I said, they could be trying to wipe the slate clean. We may just get Groot. He may be the only survivor, and it'll be then up to him to start a new Guardians. Who knows?
Yeah, and I mean, look what James Gunn did with the Suicide Squad. Barely anyone survived that. So we could see
A lot of those characters only had like a couple of lines, you know. But the Weasel made it out. He never would have thought that.
I did not think that.
And I do believe Weasel is in the Creature Companions animated series coming up in the DCU. So
That's right.
yeah, no, that's a good point, Thunder Walker. Drax does always come back with a different personality. So if he does die, a new actor may take over as the next Drax the Destroyer, and he could come back. And yes, Groot's already died and came back, so we know, his Creature Commandos, yes. So them 2 dying may just signify a new actor coming in and a new Groot and a new Drax coming in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
If Gamora lives, I don't know if Zoe Saldaña even wants to play her anymore outside of a James Gunn movie. So if she lives, she may just go off and not be a part of anymore until they offer her a bunch of money for Secret Wars or something.
She was saying that she could do Avatar movies until, the rest of her life. That's what she wanted to do.
Really? Wow. How many more Avatar movies are we going to get?
4, I think. 3 or 4.
God. Okay.
I think 6.
Total?
Yay.
Well, Freep is, that's the Detroit Free Press, for those of you outside of Michigan, reporting 2 shootings are known.
I wonder if it's a personal thing or if some wild shooter.
I don't know. Oh, breaking news. This is not your status quo.
Yeah. And Zoe has been getting up there to play, she's in 3 of the top 5 movies of all time. I mean,
yeah.
Signing her up is like cashing in, printing your own money.
No, isn't she in 4 of the top movies of all time? Both Avatars, Infinity War, and Endgame.
Yeah, so the top 4.
Jeez.
Yeah, she's you can take her to the bank.
She definitely knows how to pick a role. Good for her.
She's good at playing aliens.
Yep, yes she is. And don't forget to hit us up at Twitter, leave a comment down below, and we will see you next time on Not Your Status Quo.